Okay, I'm back. I'll be reading some more from the Disneyland encyclopedia. We're up to the letter F. Fairy Tale Arts Map Fantasyland FA-23 dates December 2006 to ongoing. Fairy Tale Arts is a collection of open booths stretching alongside the Fantasyland waters, formerly toured by the motor boat cruise, won by KAMAM Porphyrosis Art Shoppies, a company that has been providing artists for amusement park projects since the 1970s. The booths cover about 60 feet of waterfront walkway. The arts, including personalized calligraphy and exotic face painting, would fit right into the Renaissance Fair. Nearby is Fantasy Freeze, a cart that the cruise off guests with tart ice drinks. Family Fun Weekend staged January 14th, 2011 to March 6th, 2011, when Main Street was blocked off for renovation in early 2011. Guess what? Temporarily denied the daily parade to compensate. Disneyland launched a short-lived program called Family Fun Weekends, held for 8 consecutive three-day weekends from January 14th to March 6th. The event was initially staged in Frontierland at Big Thunder Ranch. There, an outdoor performance space called the Festival Arena was transformed every weekend with a different theme. First up was Fiesta Disneyland, featuring mariachi music and local artisans presenting their wares. Next came the Kicking Country Weekend, a celebration of country and western costumes, music, food, and crafts. The third weekend, character fan days filled the area with roaming Disney characters, including some that are rarely seen anymore, such as the bears from the Country Bear Jamboree. Lunar New Year was the theme of the last 2 February weekends. Finally, the revelry shifted to New Orleans Square for 3 weekends of Mardi Gras celebrations. The success of the Family Fun Weekends in 2011 led to new Disneyland events a year later. Centered in front of its a Small World from January 20 to 29 2012. The Happy Lunar New Year celebration promoted Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese culture via musical performances, themed foods, and meet and greets with Mulan and other Disney characters. Then, the New Orleans Bayou Bash brought live jazz, specialty foods, Tahina's Mardi Gras procession, and more to New Orleans Square for 5 Mardi Gras weekends in February and March of 2012. of 2012. Family reunion dates 1980. In 1980, a new family reunion theme unified Disneyland celebration of its silver anniversary. For the event, former cast members were invited for a special night of entertainment and festivities on April 11th. On TV, Dana Kane hosted a March special called Craft Salutes Disneyland's 25th anniversary. Michael Jackson was one of the guests. A new family reunion parade and a 25-hour party that lasted from 12:01 a.m. on July 17th until 1 a.m. on July 18th were additional highlights. Fantasy Gardens map. Fantasyland FA-23 dates. January 1993 to 2006. Nearly every major animated movie produced by Disney Studios from the 1930s to the 50s has been etched by a Disneyland attraction except Fantasia. In 1993, the 1940 classic finally found a home in the park on the east side of Small World Way in Fantasyland. Formerly, the motorboat cruise had putted around this area north of the Matterhorn. Soon after the last motorboat sailed, the landscaping and fountains of Fantasy Gardens filled in what had been the boat's loading area. Like the Topiary Garden outside, it's a small world. Some of the bushes in the Fantasy Gardens formed recognizable shapes, notably the hippo and crocodile characters from Fantasy. A snack stand nearby made this a convenient rest stop until everything was closed off in 2006, so that Fairy Tale Arts and later a temporary designated smoking area could set up here. Fantasmic map. Frontierland FR-16. Dates May 13th, 1992 to ongoing. Some imagination, huh? So concludes Mickey Mouse at the end of Fantasmic, and it's doubtful anyone could disagree. Originally intended to be called either Imagination or PHANTASMAGORIA. Fantasmic is an elaborate, state-of-the-art outdoor music and pyrotechnics show that almost defies definition. To install the stage and create the special effects. In 1992, the Rivers of America waterway in Frontierland was drained. The southern tip of Tom Sawyer Island was rebuilt and the island's mill was relocated after the first year proved to be overwhelmingly successful, but also overwhelmingly crowded. Terrace walkways were added near Frontierland and New Orleans Square to accommodate the thousands of guests who gather nightly along the river banks to witness the memorizing 22-minute show. The complicated multimedia presentation incorporates many different elements, usually including over 50 cast members, most taking on multiple roles and featuring thrilling music and sound effects. 30-foot-tall spotlight towers, 125 special effects that can generate 6-foot flames, 11 floating watercraft, and an assortment of smoke machines, lasers, black lights, and water canyons. The show also features a 100-foot-long snake, a crocodile 25 feet wide by 17 feet tall. A 20-foot-tall Ursula from the Little Mermaid, an appearance by the Mark Twain riverboat and/or the sailing ship Columbia, and as of 2009, a 40-foot-tall fire-breathing mechanical dragon. Some of the most innovative elements of the production are huge water screens on which full-color animated images are projected. The screens, which are 30 feet tall by 50 feet wide by 4 inches thick, require thousands of gallons of water to create. The fantastic plot follows the hero Mickey in a sorcerer's costume as he battles various Disney villains, resulting in a tour of classic Disney movies from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to Beauty and the Beast. One possible drawback of Fantasmic is that it is canceled in any inclement weather. Wind would soak viewers with water from the water screens. Up until a 2007 remodel, the public's best view was from a balcony outside the nearby Disney Gallery, which once offered a special vantage point for those with reservations. The park souvenir books have justifiably touted the pioneering Fantasmic experience as one of the most complex and technically advanced shows ever presented, just as the Main Street Electrical Parade reinvented nighttime entertainment in the 70s, so too did Fantasmic reinvented in the 90s. Fantasy Fair Map Hub H-2. Dates 2013 to ongoing. The Plaza Gardens was a stylish, if underused, entertainment venue for 55 years. This prime location next to Sleeping Beauty Castle finally closed in 2011. The same year, plans were announced for Fantasy Fair in medieval Village Square, projected to open in 2013. Fairy Tale Cottages, a tower inspired by Tangled, a meet and greet area for Disney princesses, live entertainment, interactive experience, and evening dances are all combined to make Fantasy Fair one of Disneyland's biggest additions in years. The buildings and activities may be new, but the ALLITER Fantasy Fair name isn't, having been used for a gift shop and for the Princess Fantasy Fair area in Fantasyland. Fantasy Fair Gifts, aka Fantasy Shop, aka Fantasy Emporium, aka Fantasy Gift Fair. Map, Fantasyland, F8-9, F8-16 dates, CA, 1955 to CA, 1981, CA, 1996 to ongoing. In Disneyland's early decades, a little shop shared a building with the Mickey Mouse Club Theater in Fantasyland. At various time, park maps called the shop Fantasy Fair Gifts, the Fantasy Shop, Fantasyland Emporium, and Fantasy Gift Fair. Small and castle themed. It lasted until the early 80s, when a major renovation introduced Pinocchio designs and the Village Inn restaurant. After disappearing for over a decade, the shop returned in the mid-90s. Today, it is located near It's a Small World as a freestanding shop called Fantasy Fair Gifts. Like an open-air convenience store, Fantasy Fair stocks film, postcards, candy hats, plush toys, pins, and other souvenirs. Fantasyland map. Park P-16 dates July 17, 1955 to ongoing. Fantasyland fans may be surprised to know how fortress like this most charming lands appeared at its inception. In 1953, 10 months before construction began, RYMAN drew up a detailed sketch of the park as envisioned by Walt Disney, who coached RYMAN through the 2-day creative process. process. That landmark drawing depicted Fantasyland atop a high plateau. In, in, in plateau. Imposing walls, turrets, and battlements ringed in enormous vertical castle in the center, making Fantasyland look more like a fantasy empire, a crooked, rounded way, completely around the plateau's perimeter, isolating it from the rest of Disneyland. Other details were far less formidable, such as the carousel located in front of the castle. A few months before the park was built, Disney artists created a smaller study of a circular Fantasyland that looked a bit more like the land today's guests see. The area stretched from a structure very much like Sleeping Beauty Castle up to a big lagoon with an island in the middle. Some attractions on this revised map: a Mother Goose fun through Nemo's sub from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and an unidentified attraction called Pinocchio Square were never built. Another Fantasyland proposal that never materialized was Bruce Bussman's concept drawing of a Ferris wheel, derived from the 1937 cartoon The Old Mill. Clearly, Fantasyland went through many design changes, but one theme endured through all the revised plans movies. More than any other area in the park, Fantasyland celebrates classic films. Within a few years of its opening, Fantasyland already included 2 Dumbo attractions: the airborne elephants and the Casey Jr. train, 2 Alice in Wonderland attractions, the indoor ride and the spinning teacups, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride from the 1949 film The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and attractions echoing Snow White, Peter Pan, and Sleeping Beauty, plus a theater that played Disney cartoons. Walt Disney probably had several strategies in mind as he was infusing fantasy. As he was infusing Fantasyland, FANTASYL, and with his movies. Certainly the buildings and attractions would be marvelous ways to promote his films, including old favorites like Snow White and Dumbo, and new additions like Peter Pan and Sleeping Beauty. More importantly, with so many attractions and lands, Adventureland and Tomorrowland in particular, that would be unfamiliar and overwhelming to 1955 to 1955 guests who had never been to a theme park before. Walt, Dis, Walt Disney perhaps sensed that the familiar cartoon faces featured in Fantasyland would be a welcome comfort. The same general strategy, accumulating, ornating, and comforting guests before introducing them to the unfamiliar, most likely influenced the placement of a main street, which ease guests into the park with a stroll down a gentle, recognizable avenue. In addition to this connection with Disney films, Fantasyland stores up idyllic, dreamy memories of childhood fantasies shared by anyone who is or was a kid. Disneyland literature emphasizes this collective memory. The park souvenir books have called Fantasyland the happiest kingdom of them all, a magic land that takes you back to childhood and a carefree kingdom where dreams could actually come true. When introducing Fantasyland on the Disneyland TV series, Walt Disney declared that here you could do anything your heart desires, because in this land hopes and dreams are all that matter. That's a whole lot of happiness, magic, childhood memories, dreams, hope, and heart for the little 6-acre section of the park. Unfortunately, 28 years would pass before the Fantasyland Walt Disney had envisioned would actually be built. With opening day approaching, time pressures and budget restrictions forced Disney to abandon his idea of uniting the Fantasyland attractions with additional village architecture. Instead, he had his artists create maneuver-style facades, so at least the front of the attractions would appear village-like. These facades, plus banners and pennants installed along the roofs, gave Fantasyland the atmosphere of an old world fair. The maneuver look would last for decades, but within a year of opening, some major changes were already arriving. The delightful storybook land canal boats replaced the dreary old canal boats. The scenic skyway to Fantasyland drifted above, and Junior Autopia cranked up to these. In 1957, the passageway to the Sleeping Beauty Castle walk-through opened, and a smaller midget Autopia began motoring. In 1959, Disneyland's tallest structure, Matterhorn Mountain, was installed. flanking Fantasyland near the new Fantasyland Autopia. 7 years later, Fantasyland expanded dramatically northward when it's a small northward when it's a small world past the train tracks and the park's perimeter bomb. In 1983, a massive $50 million remodel transformed the heart of Fantasyland into what Walt Disney had originally visualized. Some old attractions were retired. The Pirate Ship Restaurant, Skull Walk, and the Fantasyland Theater. Others were relocated. Dumbo, the Mad Tea Party, and the King Arthur Carousel. Others were relocated. Dumbo, the Mad Tea Party, and the King Arthur Carousel. Tired attractions got a facelift. Snow White, Peter Pan, and Alice, and a new one was added. Pinocchio's Daring Journey. In addition, everything within the castle courtyard got a makeover. To approximate the movies the attractions were based upon. Consequently, the exterior of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride really looked like Mr. Toad's Wild Home. The Pinocchio building evoked Geppetto's Alpine Village, etc. Walt Disney's intended Fantasyland had finally come to life. He must have believed it eventually would. After all, according to part one, according to part of one Fantasyland dedication plaque he created but never placed in view. Fantasyland is dedicated to those who believe that when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Fantasyland Autopia, aka Rescue Rangers Raceway Map, Fantasyland FA-22, dates January 1st, 1959 to 1999. Tomorrowland's Autopia became so popular that the 3 more Autopias followed it. After the smaller Junior Autopia and Midget Autopia were built for children, the Fantasyland Autopia for older drivers opened in 1959. With roadways spread across the park's northeast corner, the new Fantasyland Autopia entrance was located on the main walkway behind the Matterhorn, near the motorboat cruise. The park souvenir books sometimes describe this attraction as the Super Autopia Freeway, with the latest the latest Mark V cars. Mark V was a reference to the fifth iteration of Autopia design and match what was running concurrently nearby in Tomorrowland's Autopia. In fact, from 1959 until 1991, the Fantasyland and Tomorrowland Autopias were almost identical in many ways, sharing sponsorship. Richfield Oil Corporation, similar layouts. Cars were side by side in some places, and price. Usually a C ticket from the Disneyland ticket book. The biggest difference between the two Autopias came in March of 1991 when the Fantasyland version was briefly renamed the Rescue Rangers Raceway in accordance with a temporary retheming that installed Disney Afternoon Avenue in Fantasyland. The Fantasyland Autopia name was restored 8 months later and lasted until 1999. At which point the attraction was closed, so it could be merged into Tomorrowland's heavily remodeled Autopia, presented by Chevron. Fashions and fabrics through the ages map. Tomorrowland T-23 dates March 1965 to December 1965. To keep up with the styles of the future, guests need to understand the styles of the past. Also, it seemed in 1965 when Tomorrowland welcomed a fashion exhibit of all things into its pantheon of unusual displays, like its neighbor, the bathroom of Tomorrow and the Hall of Aluminum Fame. Fashions and fabrics through the ages was an industrial show added to promote a needed sponsor. In this case, the formidable multi-billion-dollar Monsanto Chemical Company, founded in 1901. Lasting only 9 months in 1965, Fashions and Fabrics was the shortest lived of the four Disneyland attractions and exhibits sponsored by Monsanto. The others were the Hall of Chemistry, which opened in 1955, the House of the Future in 1957, and Adventure Through Inner Space in 1967. Monsanto set up the exhibit A Journey into its Hall of Chemistry in the first right hand building inside the Tomorrowland entrance. The fashions on view were all women's garments, most of them historical, shown in wall displays or on mannequins. The exhibit began with ragged animal skins worn by cave women, and continued on from the exotic attire of ancient Egypt and Renaissance Europe to the finest dresses of the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. The exhibit accumulated with synthetic spaceware. Spaceware. The synthetic dove, 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 tailed, dovetailed nicely with the chemical advances being showcased in the Montecito Hall next door. At the end of 1965, the Montecito fashion exhibit was removed, so the entire building could be gutted in preparation for 1967's adventure through inner space. Fast Pass dates 1992 ongoing. Already a trump. In Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris, the Fast Pass ticketing system came to Disneyland just before Thanksgiving in 1999. The first attraction to get a Fast Pass ticket distribution machine was It's a Small World. Soon many of Disneyland's other top attractions, Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, etc., had their own Fast Pass machines, and guests happily took advantage of them to avoid standing in lines. Anyone who has ever waited 90 minutes for a busy attraction can appreciate how adventurous Fast Pass reservations are. All the guest has to do is show up at the popular attraction of his choice and insert his park admission ticket or annual pass into the accompanying Fast Pass machine. He will then receive a free Fast Pass ticket that will allow him to bypass the regular line and board more quickly when he returns at the time designated on the ticket. The system doesn't always work effortlessly, especially when overwhelming crowds form a Fast Pass queue in addition to the regular line. Also, each guest is allowed to obtain only one ticket at a time and must wait for the designated time to arrive before getting another one. Typically, Fast Pass really does enable guests to jump past a long line to the front of a big attraction. Disney executives have discovered another advantage. Many Fast Pass ticket holders who normally would have spent hours waiting in line now have free time on their hands for shopping and dining until their reservation times arrive. The Fast Pass system has been so successful that the amusement park industry industry, lauded with a breakthrough innovation award in 2001. In 2001. Fast Pass attractions. 9 attractions offering fast passes in 2011. Adventureland, Indiana Jones Adventure, Critter Country, Splash Mountain, Frontierland, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Mickey's Toontown, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, New Orleans Square, The Haunted Mansion. Tomorrowland Autopia, presented by Chevron, Buzz Lightyear, and Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, Space Mountain, Star Tours. 50th Anniversary Shop. Map Fantasyland FA-3. Dates May 2005 to November 2006. Concurrent with the celebrations planned for Disneyland's 50th anniversary in 2005, the Princess Boutique in Fantasyland was transformed into the 50th anniversary shop. The location was the same inside the Sleeping Beauty castle entrance, but the merchandise switched from princess accoutrements to 50th anniversary souvenirs and collectibles, including some sold exclusively in the shop. Once the partying subsided, the shop was reopened as Tinkerbell and Friends in late 2006. Fine Tobacco Map. Main Street, MS-19, dates July 17, 1955 to June 3, 1990. For its first 35 years, Disneyland maintained a Genie tobacco shop squeezed between the Main Street Magic Shop and the Main Street Cinema. A tobacco shop complete with a wooden Indian out front would have been a natural component of a small town street at the turn of the century, making a shop that sold cigarettes, cigars, and pipes an authentic addition to Main Street and a nod to tradition. Fine Tobacco handed out complimentary matchbooks. Some of these included a depiction of the shop's exterior, while others had an old-fashioned lamppost printed on the front and a cigar store Indian on the back. In the politically correct 90s, however, Fine Tobacco's days were numbered. The shop closed at the beginning of the decade, replaced by the patent Pastimes collectible shop, and later the 20th century music music company store. Sale of tobacco elsewhere in the park concluded at the end of the decade, and within a few years, there were only a handful of spaces designated as smoking areas. As a tribute to the past, Fine Tobacco's wooden Indian still stands watch in his usual place along Main Street, just as he has since 1955. Fire Department, aka Fire Station Map, Town Square, TS-5, dates July 17, 1955 to ongoing. An attractive two-story brick building trimmed in white stone. The fire department or fire station has stood proudly to the wide north of City Hall since opening day. Displayed on the ground floor is the fire department's horse-drawn fire engine. Disneyland souvenir books have also dubbed it an old time horse and chemical wagon. This beautifully appointed red wagon was one of the original Main Street vehicles that cost only an A ticket from the Disneyland ticket book for a ride to the hub. In the summer of 1960, the horse-drawn wagon was withdrawn from service and permanently parked inside the fire department, where it has been on view, along with displays of actual firefighting equipment, a pot-bellied stove, and antique fire extinguishers ever since. Although kids aren't allowed to play with any of the displays, they are encouraged to climb on the fire wagon. The horses that once pulled the wagon were moved to the park's pony farm, but their fire department stores remain intact and are still adorned with the names Bess and Jess, the building's first equine employees. Upstairs and off limits to the public is a private apartment for Walt Disney and his family. Also off limits is the park's rear fire department, located in an unseen building behind the Opera House on the opposite side of a town square. Though it may look authentic. The fire department on Main Street has never been used to fight fires. Firehouse 5+2, dates 1951 to 1971. The Rollicking, SEPTET, known as the Firehouse 5+2, plus 2 was 8. Was a summertime staple at Disneyland for 15 years. The group traveled all over the park, playing in Town Square, inside the Golden Horseshoe, on the streets of New Orleans Square, and while riding in parades. Their signature look was a fireman's outfit, a bright red shirt, white suspenders, and an authentic fire helmet, and the signature sound was guest-friendly Dixieland jazz, punctuated by bells, whistles, and sirens. As with the Dapper Dance, membership varied during the group's career. Among the longtime players were Danny Algui cornet, George Bruns tuba, Harper Goff banjo, Ward Kimball trombone, and the band's leader Johnny Lucas trumpet, Clarkemallery clarinet, Montgomery drums, Eardmanpenner tuba, George Probert saxophone, Dick Roberts banjo, and Frank Thomas piano. Kimball and Thomas were two of the famed 9 old men. The influential animated team, nicknamed by Walt Disney. The Firehouse 5 plus 2 formed in the late 1940s as a lunchtime, after work, and weekend hobby for a few Disney animators and technicians. For the early performances at parties, they went by the names HUGGA, HJEEDY8, and then the San Gabriel Valley Blue Blowers in 1949. The group developed its good time firehouse theme, complete with an old fire engine for photos. During the 50s, it performed live on TV variety shows, on radio shows, and in nightclubs. The group also got airtime when it was featured in the 1955 Dateline Disneyland TV special, which introduced the nation to the newly completed park. Additionally, throughout the 1950s and 60s, the group recorded a dozen albums. One of them, 1962's at Disneyland, was recorded live at the Golden Horseshoe. The songs included numerous popular stomps and wags, and the cover showed the boys hamming it up while sitting in the Fantasyland teacups. The Firehouse 5 plus 2 recorded its last album in 1970 and disbanded a year later. Okay, that's all for now. Bye-bye.